Hello, welcome back to the circuit. My name is Mark and this is Scalextric Racer. Hooray! Happy birthday to me. Well, happy birthday to the channel. Scalextric Racer is actually 1 year old. 1 year old yesterday, well, depending on when you're watching. So isn't that amazing? My last video as a little birthday present got over 1,000 views and 70 likes, which in my little micro channel world, that's virtually going viral for me. So happy birthday to Scalextric Racer. So what have I got coming up for you today? If you did watch that last video, you will understand that it was all about how I was going to redesign my track and lay it out again to correct some problems that I'd created for myself. So I've been working on that really hard since I last posted the video, so I've got quite a bit to show you, but let me come round the other side of the table and we'll have a chat. That always feels better when I can get down here and talk to you properly. So in the last edition of Scalextric Racer, we had a look at my original track, which looked like this. And then what I told you was that there were some things that were making me unhappy, mainly being that the pit lane was in the wrong place. And also the track was very close to the edge of my table, so I hadn't got much room for scenery. So I had a little think about it and I'd come up with a new design that looks like this. So I showed you how I use Scalextric Track Designer to design that new layout, and I also showed you how to get it installed up on your own computer or laptop, and a little bit about how it works. Some of these that really hit the spot, and as I say, 1,000 people tuned into that. I'm not sure whether you liked the aspect about design or the aspect about using the software, but I mean, get busy down in the comments and let me know, because I'm not always sure what you like about my videos, so do please get going in the comments. Anyway, today's episode, so what I plan to do is I've been busy obviously making things, so I'm going to show you the track, how it looks at the moment. Then we'll have a little chat about what my future plans for it are, because as I say, it's a tribute to a real circuit, and some little bits that I've created sort of really remind me of where I'm going to create. So we'll have a little chat about that and my plans. Then we need to talk about my 2-minute challenge and what having a new shaped circuit means to all those 2-minute challenge records that I've got, and the shelf of champions, which is just behind you there. So we'll have a chat about that, and then finally, if I get a chance, I'll just put a car on the circuit and I'll show you the car going there, just so you can see the new danger points where I'm going to get unslotted. So I think that's quite a lot to be getting on with, don't you? So I think the best thing that we can do is actually crack on and do it. So let's have a progress update on the track. So using the design that I showed you, which I'll just pop up again there on screen, I've laid the track down in that new configuration, and I've gone on to do all the elevations, because that's the thing that always catches me out, sort of figuring the 3D-ness of it. But I've done all that now, so what I consider to be the foundations are actually complete. So we'll get the camera down and we'll go around the track bit by bit, and I'll tell you what my objective was in altering it and whether or not I've achieved it. So perhaps the whole reason that I altered the track was I always felt that my pit lanes were in the wrong position. I really wanted the pit lane to be by the start finish straight, but as I mentioned in my other video, you need 3.5 straights to fit in the Scalextric pit lane. And I hadn't actually quite got the length in this section of track there, but by turning the circuit into basically a figure 8 with a flyover, I've been able to elongate that straight. You can just see underneath there, if I just point there, I've elongated that straight and it now fits in. I just need to get some single lane pieces to complete it, but basically I've achieved that. To bring the gap forward, so it was quite tight, so just here there wasn't much of a gap to fit the pit lane in, so to achieve that I've put in a little tiny quarter straight just there that you can just see there, and that's had the effect of bringing all the track towards me. This section here, these two R2 corners, and that's straight, and the two R2 corners there is exactly the same as it was before, really, bar the addition of that quarter straight. But then that brings us onto this hill here. So with the elevation, I had to get up quite high. It was quite a steep hill, so you can see that I've manufactured myself a slope there out of foam board, and I think I've put in enough support so that it won't buckle under the weight. So I think each one of those supports rises the slope by 1 centimetre, so I'll bring it from there right up into this corner where the mosque is. Not a lot has changed on the configuration on this section of track, except for what I've done is I've chosen to use MDF board. So previously I'd built all this out of foam board and it was buckling. I think I had to do one video about how I propped it up from underneath, but it was buckling, it wasn't really suitable, so I've now chosen to go with MDF. So this straight is basically the same. It comes down here. You can see where the former pits were there with that little sort of crescent shaped gap there, so I'll have to fill that in with something. But then the first big change, I suppose, is this Halford's corner here. So what I've done is I've actually shortened, so this back straight here I've made shorter, so I've now got much more space here to get some proper runoff areas and some proper borders in. So on the real circuit, the one I'm doing a tribute to, this was a spectator area, so hopefully I might be able to get some grandstands built just there. But this is still going to be Halford's corner. We come round here. Now formerly, as we came out of Halford's corner, we would have ran parallel and gone up towards the mosque there, but what I've done now is, again using MDF, I've carried on the elevation and I've built in this flyover which brings me across the track. So that comes to there. That section there where the foam board meets the MDF just there, that's the highest point on the circuit now. I'm a little bit worried about the cars coming off just there, but I have made it, if you look from above, I've made it quite wide, so I should be able to do something with barriers and fence. So then we have to get down from that high spot back down to let's say sea level. So I've made this sort of spiral shape, so can you see the track comes round here and it goes around this spiral just round here, and although it didn't feature on the real track that I'm modelling, this has given me a really good idea for a landmark building in this city that I can make. So I won't spoil the surprise now, but this will be quite a landmark building. So it'll set the scene of where the track is. It didn't feature on the real circuit, as I say, but it features in the city and it's an iconic building. And then so the track continues from that spiral, it comes down here. Now I don't know if I've built myself a problem here because we've got this unsighted part of track. So if I lift the camera up, can you see this section here is basically unsighted by the people who are controlling the cars, and there's a little R1 corner just down there somewhere, which is going to make it quite tight. It's as it comes underneath this flyover, so that section of track just there is R1, so I think we might come to grief there, but you come down there and then back into the pits. So if I do a bit of a pan shot now, the layout is roughly the same shape as it was before, except for we've now got this elevation and it's turned into a figure 8 circuit, and of course Halford's corner has left a gap now so I can work there, and I've achieved the aim of getting my pit lane by the start finish line. Yeah, I hope that hasn't made you seasick with the camera floating all over the place there. I hope I've got all the shots that you needed so you could see how the track is. But I think I'm excited. I think I've done what I wanted to do here. All the little underground sections of track, the city that hosted the circuit that I'm modelling is absolutely full of subways and passageways, and as a pedestrian in this city you can't walk from A to B without going upstairs, downstairs, under underpasses. So I think it's going to be quite realistic, and it's going to give me a lot of opportunity to model buildings that exist in the city. The circuit, the real circuit, was actually a bit dull and plain, although people might say that about the city as well. Excuse me, but the circuit itself was just on the inner ring road basically, and there wasn't many features. So by combining landmarks from the city with features that existed on the real track, I think I'm going to get quite a good representation of where it should be, and I think the circuit's actually going to look quite attractive when I get down to modelling it properly. But there you are, it's over to you guys. Again, get busy in the comments. What do you think? Do you think I've made it worse for myself, or do you think I've made it better? I don't know yet. I have had a car going round here, but I'll update you on that in a few minutes. So now I have got these basic layouts set up, I can now think about plans for the future and where I want to take it next. So for instance, in such a small space like this, tidiness is quite a problem, so I'm forever stepping on cables and tripping over things. So I've built myself this new control centre, so there was always a little bit of extra space added onto the side of the track, but I've actually now made it much more robust. So this is my my control centre where I can sit like is it Davros who runs the Daleks? So I built this. Mr. 3D Print, aka the son-in-law, is going to print me some holsters so we can fix the hand controls onto the side of the bench here, and that'll help me lifting all the cables off the floor. And I really do need to think about the cable management, because these bloody things are awful with all this wire, especially when you've got 6 plugged in. I know people that have gone to Arc Air Pro, that's an absolute boom for that style of Scalextric because it's all wireless hand controls, but unfortunately budget doesn't allow me to go there yet. Plus I'd lose my SSDC software hookup, so I'm sticking with this for the time being, but we're going to get much better with the cable management. So if you're watching, Mr. 3D Printer, let's get those printed for me. So let's talk about the buildings that I want to model next. So the place where I think I'm going to start is on this spiral section here. So we spoke about how the track comes down in a spiral, but what we're going to do, and whether you can see the pencil line there, is create quite a narrow walkway there for people to walk through. So the front of this building is actually going to be curved, and that will allow me to turn this little square here and that section there into a city centre pub. Now in the city where we are modelling, where the circuit exists, it's quite a famous city centre pub. It has unfortunately quite a tragic history, but I think it will be a good subject for me to model. And then on top of this is going to be something which, if it works, I'm quite excited about it. I don't know whether I can pull it off yet, so I won't talk too much about it, but that's really going to set the scene for the circuit. Here we'll probably, where this slope goes up, I'm probably going to turn that into basically a concrete wall. So in this city there's a lot of roads that go underneath underpasses. We're famous for the tunnels, so that little area there, that can be one of the tunnels, and I'm considering making some blue road signs, you know, the out of city road signs. So I'm going to make some of those. That'd be quite exciting, something for me to do. This hidden section of the circuit here, I've got 2 views on this, so it's either going to be concrete wall, grass verge, and then slope up to the upper level, which features prominently in this city, or we have actually got a shopping area. Well, it's been filled in now, but there's a shopping area that's down a dip like this, so I could possibly model shops underneath there. I'm not quite sure yet. I think I favour the grass verge and the embankment up to the top level because that feels more realistic, having a racetrack going through it. but it would miss the opportunity to do some like landmark shops that people would know and recognise. So 50-50 on that one, I'm not sure. Halfords Corner we've spoken about, so really this has to be a grandstand area, so I think I'm going to get more creative with using the sort of chicken wire fence that separates the fans from the track, so that will go there. I have mentioned that all the way along here I want to install road lights, street lights, so I need to get some wiring in there before I go much further. And there's one section here that's really exciting me, because I mentioned that in the city there's lots of subways and underpasses, and I've inadvertently created that entrance just there. Now when I used to be a boy and I used to walk around this city, it was full of little passageways like this. So if I make myself a little blue subway sign, and if I could make it stink of urine as well, it would help. But it's quite exciting. I know it sounds stupid, but it's quite exciting to me, because it should be like a really realistic representation of trying to get around this place on foot and having to go under these dark, dingy subways. So I'm quite excited about that. And then finally the pits. So I've spoken before, on the real circuit the pits were actually at Bristol Street Motors. The cars were on the forecourt of the car showroom. But now I've moved them here, so we can go to your more traditional pit buildings, which I intend to model. And as I said, maybe the 3D printer in the family might be able to help me out there as well. So those are my plans. I hope you're looking forward to coming on the journey with me while I create them. So the next thing that we need to talk about is the 2-minute challenge. So as you know, if you've been watching me, every time I show you one of my cars or we review a new car, I like to put it through the 2-minute challenge on the circuit. So that's a 2-minute endurance race with the idea of doing as many laps as you can and getting the best time that you can. And I've done that for 22 cars now, and we've kept the results, and of course the top 10 appear here on the shelf of champions. Well, of course, with the circuit now being in a different configuration, we've got to think about what we do with the 2-minute challenge. So the way I see it, I've got 3 options. Either we just draw the line under those 2-minute challenges and then we start off a new series, or we let the records stand as they are and try and beat them on the new layout. Or the idea that I think I'm going to favour is to actually run those 22 cars again. So what I'll do is in reverse order, so slowest to last, I'll get the cars out, put them on the track, and we'll give them each chance of either equaling or bettering their time. I think what I might do as well is get in touch with my colleague at ChatGPT, that's Vale. You may have seen the interviews that I've done with Vale, and we'll ask her what she thinks the effect of this new track configuration will have on lap times. I think that might be quite interesting. So there you are, that's the future of the 2-minute challenge. Of course, we also need to talk about pacer car pursuits. I don't know how I'm going to get a pacer car to go down this circuit. That sort of hidden corner underneath the elevated section might be a bit too tricky for the pacer car, but hey, we're here to find out. So I'll get them set up. I may do a video about how I reset up the pacer car. I did one about SSDC before and it was really popular, so maybe I might be able to repeat that for you, and we'll see if we can get a new pacer car going down the new circuit configuration. But there you are, that's all about the 2-minute challenge and the pacer car pursuit. I think the next thing to do, as we're sort of nearing the end of our time together today, is to show you a car going round this new circuit. Now, the car I've been using is this little Aston Martin. I don't know whether you can see that. And the reason I've been using that car is actually a bit daft, and it's because it's absolutely appalling. It's probably the slowest car that I own. It's a super resistant, it's really light, and the tyres are blinking awful on it. So it's quite difficult to keep on the track and to get good lap times. but I'm sort of using it because I want the good lap times on this circuit to be a surprise to me as much as they are to you. So I'm not putting my best car out here to find out now. I'm using a rubbish car, and it will help me to like learn the tight spots on the corners, but I won't spoil the surprise of finding out what a good lap time looks like. So I'm going to set up the camera now, and I'll show you the car going down the circuit, and we'll just have a little chat about how it feels and how it looks. So here's the Aston Martin then sitting on the starting grid. I've tried to get a good camera position, but it's actually really difficult to get the entire track into one shot. So you're going to have to put up with me holding the camera in my hand, which will be a little bit wobbly, but we'll see how we get on. So what we'll do first is we'll do a couple of slow laps so I can film it all the way round, and then maybe I'll find a static position and we'll just concentrate on certain areas of the track, and I'll see if I can pick the speed up. So here we go with the first lap then. So here we go, nice and steady, goes up past the Moss, down into the shortened Halfords bend there, across this new centre section, then the middle section backwards, underneath that difficult corner, and that's the first lap completed. So what do you think then? I'm having to go really slow because I can't sort of film and drive at the same time. There we are. So to give you an idea, those laps are coming out, those both 11 and 12 seconds for that first lap time. Come on again. So there you are, you get the idea. Okay, let's see if we can summarise all this. So I'll set it all up for the summary and we'll come back. So there we are then, that's a bit of a different type of episode of Slot Track Racer, isn't it? So I do hope that you've actually enjoyed it. I think I more prefer doing all the complicated editing and just talking to camera. So you've had a lot of me, I hope I haven't bored you in any way. So it's quite a difficult position for me really. Altering my track like I have done is quite a big upheaval. I tend to not like a lot of change, so when I put something down, that's its place and it stays in its place forever really. So for me to rip it all up and change it is quite difficult emotionally. But I am excited about cracking on with the buildings because I have now actually got the space. I can do some foam board construction and I can actually make some meaningful buildings to join my model of Bristol Street Motors and the mosque. So it's got good points. Really not sure about the lap times though. What do you think? Do you think I'll be able to get faster lap times or slower lap times? I don't know. So what I've done is I've removed 2 radius 1 corners out of the circuit, so you would imagine R1 corners are always really difficult to get down, so taking 2 away has got to be of benefit. And I think I've actually had to put 2 half straights in, so the number of straights has actually got more as well. So with less corners and more straights, you think it would be faster, but that middle section, the way the car's reverse direction, and now the fact that I've got a bit of a track that's unsighted, seems like I'm having to go quite slowly. But as I did say when I was showing you the car going down, that car is one of my worst ones, and I'm not prepared to test a good one on it yet, because I want to get good at driving before I get a really fast lap time. So there you are, bit of an unusual summary, bit of an unusual episode, and going back to what I said before, I do hope that you've enjoyed it. So if you have enjoyed it, let's do the housekeeping. A nice thumbs up at the bottom. I don't think we're going to get 1,000 views on this one, do you? Feels like the difficult second single, the difficult second YouTube episode after such a big one. But anyway, yeah, thumbs up if you enjoyed it, thumbs down if you haven't enjoyed it, or I would prefer if you just sort of clicked off and went and watched something else. Comments, please keep comments coming. Tell me what you think about the new circuit. Tell me what you liked about that last video. I really would like to hear, so I can do more of it. And subscriptions, of course. So if it's the first time you've found me, or if you've found me before and you haven't subscribed yet, please do click on the subscribe button. It really gives me a massive ego boost, and it will help me to make more good content just like this one was. So that really is the end of the episode. There's nothing else to say other than, if I don't see you through next week, I'm definitely going to see you around the circuit. So bye bye for now.